there's a problem.
If a swine flu epidemic comes, this is how it could spread. You'll want to be protected, especially if you're elderly or chronically ill. Get a shot of protection, the swine flu shot.
Although the head of the CDC did get fired as a result of this scandal. Let me ask you another question. Where do you get your health advice from? Do you get it from McDonald's? Well, right now McDonald's is giving away free vaccines with Happy Meals in Texas. Do you want your hepatitis A shot with that Happy Meal? This is what Anthony Gucciardi says out of Natural Society. This program was actually happening in the city of Amarillo, and here's what the local paper had to say. The city of Amarillo's Department of Public Health and the Caring for Children Foundation of Texas will offer free vaccinations for children from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday at McDonald's restaurant on 815 South Grand Street. They were offering the meningococcal vaccine, varicella, MMR, the Tdap booster vaccine, hepatitis A. In addition to letting people set up vaccination clinics on site of one of their stores, I have here a McDonald's coupon that says, well, if McDonald's, the role model of health, thinks it's a good idea, then it must be. And the coupon says, if you get immunized, bring your card in, you'll get a free vanilla cone. So now we should be taking our health advice from McDonald's, a company that puts actual silly putty and plastic products in the food that you eat. Are you loving it yet? And I want to end this report showing how the freedom-loving spirit can prevail in certain instances. Back in 2011, the Canadian Press posted that measles among vaccinated Quebec kids questioned. And it talks about a case in Quebec where 52 of 98 teens who caught the measles vaccine were fully vaccinated. And this was a shock to the researchers that investigated it. And it's not a shock to me. In fact, here's a clip from Dr. Suzanne Humphreys talking about how people, after they get vaccinated, they actually shed the disease.
I've got another study from Croatia, and there were several cases of measles outbreaks occurring in children who had just been vaccinated. And so they looked at the strain. They're having intensive surveillance of measles during this period of time, and so they looked at, with this DNA or genetic fingerprinting, what strains they were, and it was the vaccine strain that they were infected with. So not only did they become sick from measles, from the strain that they were vaccinated with, but they were contagious.
As a result of this and other stories, there's actually a family out there that started a daycare that's vaccine-free. In fact, they don't want to take any kids if they've had their vaccinations. Here it is from CBC News, vaccine-free daycare criticized by Ottawa Public Health.
They say a vaccine-free environment is safer for young children because those who get the needle could, as Abeka calls it, shed some of the disease to others.
Children can just play, and we don't have to worry about them contracting something from sheddings.
But Ottawa Public Health has a big issue with vaccine-free daycares, and it wants to get the message out to parents that the measles vaccine is both effective and very safe.
And I think you're going to see a trend of this happening. People are going to start bucking the system, saying, look, we don't care what you're saying. We're not going to put this stuff into us. You haven't fully tested it. You're not being forthright. You set up a secret court where we can't even get evidence from the vaccine companies, and you just award judgments willy-nilly depending on semantics. No, people are starting to fight back, and this is one way, and I think you're going to see a lot more of these, and I hope to see a lot more of these in the United States, where freedom-loving Americans are going to put their foot down and say, we want to have an environment where vaccine-free kids can get together and not just be pushed around by all you vaccine lovers out there. This has been Rob Dew for Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News. If you like reports like these, please consider becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. Your subscription can be shared with up to 20 people. That's 20 InfoWarriors for the price of one. I encourage you to become a member today. Thank you.
Very important report from Rob Dew, and of course that aired on Infowars Nightly News last night. Pass that around. People need to understand what's happened in the past. They need to see how the CDC has conducted itself, especially in the 1976 swine flu scare. It wasn't an epidemic, it was a scare. Absolutely shameful. And yet, when you look at this, it's deja vu all over again. The only thing they weren't doing at the time was trying to take away our informed consent. As a matter of fact, one of the things they were criticized for in the 60 Minutes report was giving people these consent reforms. They said, well, since there weren't any doctors there, because 40 years ago we realized the importance of the doctor-patient relationship. proceeding with informed consent, without third-party interference, without mandates from outside, mandates from the government. So they said, well, because we didn't have doctors present, what they did was they gave them consent forms. The problem was that the information they gave them on the consent form was for a different vaccine, not for the one that they would be receiving. So it's loaded with a lot of huge bombshell information, that 60 Minutes report. It's very good to see this put in the context that Rob Dew did, so pass that around. Now, we're having some good news. We have some real good news in terms of people waking up. And I don't want to just focus on places where we have a threat. There are places where we are winning big time. There's a story that's been picked up yet again. This is on Drudge. This is the BuzzFeed, talking about Ron Paul appearing at a Mises Institute meeting about secession and the comments that he made. He said it's good news that secession is happening. He says it's going to happen. It's going to be a de facto secession. And we're going to talk about what he means by that, because we had him on after he appeared there, and he said, I'm not obsessed about obsession. He was talking about something that's a bit different than what you might think of when you say secession. It's not about people rising up and leaving like they may do in the EU. We'll talk about that right after the break. Stay with us.
Hey there, Guns80.com continues to surprise us with low prices and high-quality Ghost AR-15 rifle kits. At Guns80.com, Ghost AR-15 kits are an even better idea than buying at gun shows or through private parties, because the Ghost AR-15 kits at Guns80.com require no background checks, no registration. They don't even have serial numbers. That's what I call privacy. Go to Guns80.com to order your Ghost AR-15 rifle kit. No dealers, no hassles, ship direct. Guns80.com or 844-2GUNS80. That's 844-248-6780.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
Hi folks, Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. In the last segment, we were talking about the news that's resurfaced about Ron Paul talking about secession. Of course, they bring that up to try to paint Ron Paul as a right-wing fanatic extremist, the very kind of person that the Obama administration is more concerned about than ISIS. And, of course, we know that from the 2009 MIAC report, where the Fusion Center was saying Be very careful, telling the police, be very careful of anybody that you see that has a Ron Paul for President bumper sticker or there was the Constitution Party, Chuck Baldwin. Those stickers, those people are dangerous. Profile them. So this is part of this. What was Ron Paul actually saying? Let's play a clip from Ron Paul and let him speak right here.
To start off by talking about the subject, and the subject, of course, is secession and nullification, the breaking up of government. And the good news is it's going to happen. Amen. It's happening.
Yeah, the good news is it's going to happen, but he went on to say that it's going to be de facto. He said the Fed is going to end. There is going to be a de facto secession movement going on. The states are going to refuse to listen to some of the laws. He's talking about nullification here. He's talking about de facto. In other words, not something where you make a declaration, but something that just happens naturally. And we see it happening now. He said, we've seen tremendous success already with states saying to the federal government, we're not going to listen to you anymore about the drug laws. Perfect example. Not a right-wing thing necessarily. This is the left saying, you know what, we're not going to lock people up in prison for a mandatory minimum of 10, 20 years because they've got a little bit of pot. This is insanity. We're not going to continue with this. So you got states like Colorado and Oregon, Washington, other places saying, we're not going to do this. And of course, they tried to do it in Florida. Well, over medical marijuana, and just not over, not even extending it to recreational use, as they did in Colorado and elsewhere. And, of course, there was a big fight over that. Who got involved in that? Well, of course, it was Sheldon Adelson, who did 83%, gave money that was 83% of the contributions to stop it. Sheldon Adelson, who doesn't live in Las Vegas. Sheldon Adelson, who owns a casino. Why does he care so much about stopping medical marijuana? Why does he want to stop sick people from being helped with medical marijuana? And it is very helpful for people who are taking chemo, who are suffering from HIV. It helps with the nausea of those issues. It helps with glaucoma. There are some very well-known ways that marijuana helps people. I could go on with a very long list of this I don't have time for, because the opposition person who didn't give quite as much as Sheldon Adelson was a lawyer named John Morgan. Now, the interesting thing is that the Democratic National Committee's chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is a congressperson from Florida, and she spoke out very strongly in opposition to helping people who are sick get marijuana. She opposed this initiative. And the people who were in favor of this were very, very critical of her, so she sent a proposal to John Morgan, the Orlando trial lawyer who funded just under 50% of the opposition. She said, if you'll retract critical statements that you made, I will publicly back your cannabis initiative that she had just been trashing this last fall. And what he said to her was, no. And he said, she is a bully. I beat bullies for a living. Good for him. That's the kind of lawyer I want. If I get into some issues, I want somebody who stands up to bullies and beats them for a living. Good for you, John Morgan. Now, this is what else they said in the story. They said, of course, it was voted on by just under 58% of the people wanted medical marijuana, but in order to amend the Constitution in Florida, they needed to have 60%, so they fell short of that threshold. And they made this point. They said, although 58% of Florida voters supported medical marijuana, I'd be surprised if that many support her. This should be a lesson for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Florida voters like this policy more than her, and we'll make sure people know her positions. That's right. We're winning. We're shutting them off at the state level, at the local level. That's what Ron Paul was talking about with secession, and we're going to do it. We're going to do more of it. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to have Dr. Sherry Tenpenny in the next hour.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
What disaster is so powerful, it unleashes a chain of mass pandemics, economic meltdowns, and violent food riots, all at the same time? NASA has already set the countdown timer, and right now the 21st century apocalypse is less than 13 months away. Former CIA Director James Woolsey says 2/3 of U.S. population could perish. In a matter of seconds, the world as we know it will cease to exist. The world's economy will be wiped out. Mass riots will follow. Ancient diseases will reemerge. How will you shield yourself and your loved ones from this upcoming apocalypse? Go to darkestdays.info to find out proven methods of protecting yourself, your loved ones, and even your entire community when this worst-case scenario unravels. That's DARKESTDAYS.info. Darkestdays.info. Go there before this life-saving information becomes unavailable to the large public. Go to darkestdays.info.